Solve the quadratic inequality and then write the solution set in interval notation. We have x squared plus 4x plus 17 is less than 0. So let's go ahead and take a look at this quadratic inequality. So we already see that 0 is on the right side. We have the quadratic inequality, so we have everything on the left side. So now we need to determine the interval boundaries. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 17, and then we're going to set that equal to 0. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need to see if we can factor this. Well, we can't factor this by factoring something out of it. And then if we take a look at 17 and then 4, we do not have two numbers that we multiply to get 17 and we add them to get 4. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use the quadratic formula to see what happens. So we know that A is equal to 1, we know that B is equal to 4, and we know that C is equal to 17. And so now we're going to plug it into the quadratic formula. Remember the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and then we're going to divide that by 2a. So plugging that in, we have negative parentheses 4 plus or minus the square root of b, which is 4, squaring it, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 17, over 2 times 1. Okay, so now we end up with negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus, this is 68, all over 2. So then we get negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, let's see here, we get 42, negative 42 over 2. Okay, so if we take a look at the discriminant here, we can see that we get a what kind of solution? It's a non-real solution, or not a complex solution. So let's take a look at this here. So the discriminant here is the square root of a negative number, which means that there are no x values where the equation is satisfied. Therefore, the expression always has the same sign. What I mean by that is, let's pick x to be equal 0, right? And if we plug that into the inequality that we have up here, we have 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 7, okay? And we want to determine whether that is less than 0. Well, we get 17, which is less than 0. That means that no matter what number we pick for x, it's not going to have a value that's going to be less than 0. So therefore, this is going to be no solution. Okay? Another way of saying this is no solution is the empty set. So you either write a set with nothing in it, or the other symbol for an empty set is the following. Okay? Now let's just see what happens when we graph this on Desmos. So if we put this x squared plus 4x plus 17, well, what you notice here is that the graph is above the x-axis. There aren't any solutions there, which means that we don't have any x-intercepts. So in this case, whenever you have an inequality that way, there's going to be no solution. So therefore, we get no solution. Now let's go ahead and then write our answer into the problem here. So the solution set is the empty set. So let's select that option, check our answer, and there is our result.